Solving Equations Part 1. Solve. Here we have an equation and we want to solve for x, which is our missing value. In order to solve this, we first need to apply the distributive property to both sides. The distributive property just tells me to multiply the value on the outside of parentheses to each value within the parentheses. So if we look at the left side first, we'll distribute or multiply the 5 to each term within parentheses. So 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 3, don't forget the negative sign, is negative 15. Now we'll look at the right side of the equation. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times a positive 6 is a positive 12, so that would be plus 12. Now I need to move all the values that have an x in it to the left side and all the constant values, or just plain numbers, to the right side. So first I'm going to move the 2x to the left side. Notice that the 2x is positive, so I'm going to do the opposite and subtract 2x from both sides. So 2x minus 2x is a 0, so that just leaves me with a 12 on the right side. And then 5x minus 2x is 3x, and I still have that minus 15 on the left side. Now I'm going to move the minus 15 to the right side. Notice that I have a minus 15, so I'll do the opposite operation, which is to add. So I'll add 15 to both sides. Negative 15 plus 15 gives me 0, so I'm just left with a 3x on the left side, and then 12 plus 15 is a positive 27. So now I have 3x equals 27. I want to get the x by itself. Notice that a 3 is being multiplied to the x, so I'm going to do the opposite operation to get rid of that 3. Since 3 is being multiplied to the x, I am going to divide by 3. And we'll do that on both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other side of the equal sign. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. So that means the 3's cancel, and I'm left with a single x on the left side. 27 divided by 3 is 9. So that means that x equals 9, and that is my final answer. Use the simple interest formula I equals PRT and the values below to solve for P. I, which is the amount of interest earned on an investment, is $240. R, which is the interest rate, is 6%, and T, which is time in years, is 4 years. So I'm going to substitute those values into the formula for simple interest and solve for P. So I have 240 equals P times R times T. Now remember, R is a percent. But in order to put percentages into formulas, I must first have to convert them to a decimal. So 6% is the same as 6 divided by 100, which is 0.06. So I'll take 0.06 and plug that in for R. And then I'll multiply that by T, which is 4. Now I want to solve for P. So I want to combine like terms on both sides. Notice that I can combine the 0.06 times 4. So 0.06 times 4 is 0.24. And the p is still on that right side. So now I want to get the p by itself. So 0.24 is being multiplied by p, so I'm going to divide to get the p by itself. The 0.24's cancel on the right side. I'm left with a single p on the right side, and then 240 divided by 0.24 on the left side is 1,000. So P, which is the principal or the original amount invested into account, is 1,000, which is a monetary value. So P equals $1,000. Use the simple interest formula for computing future value, A equals P times 1 plus RT, and the values below to find the future value of the account. So A in our equation is the future value. We're going to plug in the values for P, R, and T and solve for A. Notice that R is a percent, so we need to convert that to a decimal first. 6% can be written as a decimal by dividing by 100, so 6% is 0.06 as a decimal. We'll take these values and plug them into the formula. So I have A equals 1,500 times 1 plus 0.06 times 3. First, we want to work within our parentheses. So I'm going to perform the multiplication within the parentheses first. 0.06 times 3 is 0.18. And I'm just rewriting everything so I can stay organized in my calculations. Next, we'll look at the parentheses again, and we'll add 1 plus 0.18 together, and that is 1.18. Next, the equation tells me to multiply 1,500 times 1.18, and when I do that, I get a value of 1,770. Since the future value is a monetary value, I'm going to write this in dollars and cents. So my future value, or A, is $1,770. This year's sales are $154,200, which is 20% more than last year's sales. Find last year's sales. So we're told that $154,200 is this year's sales. And that is 20% more than last year's sales. So we're going to let last year's sales equal X. So we can write an equation that says that this year's sales, which is this value, equals last year's sales plus 20% of last year's sales. So we have 154,200 equals X plus 0.2 times X. And I just converted the 20% to 0.2 since that's what it is written as a decimal. Now if I look at the right side, I have X plus 0.2X. Now, these are like terms because they both have a variable X. So X plus 0.2X is just 1.2X. So I just added the values in front of the x's together. And since there wasn't a value in front of the single x, we can assume that there was a number 1 since there was one x there. So 1 plus 0.2 gave me 1.2 and then the x. So So 1.2x equals 154,200. To isolate the x, we'll just divide both sides by 1.2. That gives me a single x on the right side, and 154,200 divided by 1.2 gives us a value of 128,500. So that means that last year's sales were $128,500.